Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh from Nightmare on Woodsboro Lake. Today I am joined by, I know I usually say special guest, but this is a very, very special guest. This is a good friend right here. We are in a band together and just have been fucking best buds for like the last couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to have him on the channel. Him and I share a very kindred love of horror. And we went and saw the movie The Black Phone over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And we're super stoked about sharing our thoughts on that with you guys.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked. This
Yeah.
is my first movie review ever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
before,
excited.
God, I didn't even say your name. Igor, everyone. This is Igor. I don't know why I'm being such a dick and not even saying his name. So
What a terrible host.
what a terrible host. God, you guys need to just cancel culture my ass. I don't know. Fuck.
Drop him.
Drop my subscribers just tank after this video.
I'm stoked to do this, man.
I'm super stoked as well.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So The Black Phone came out just a few weeks ago. It's directed by Scott Derrickson. You might remember him as directing Sinister, which he also brought back Ethan Hawke with him on this film, as well as another character. I can't remember his name, but once you see it, you'll know. Mm-hmm. You just can't miss it. But opening thoughts on the film, like, what were you expecting going into this movie?
I saw a teaser trailer, which is usually about like 30, 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And it didn't really disclose much. And then I was like, man, I gotta check out this trailer, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I thought right from the get-go, Ethan Hawke just looked like a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
And I'm an Ethan Hawke fan. Like, I think Training Day is one of his better movies. Mm. I saw The Mask, and instantly I was in. I was like, I'm gonna go check this out.
Yeah.
And I was sold.
Yeah, like I saw like just one of those short trailers as well when we went and saw Jurassic World. They played like a real brief clip of just like the kid in the cellar. We find out later his name is Finn. He's down in the cellar and then the phone starts ringing and then he goes and picks it up and that's all it was.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But I was hearing hype from all these other people and people that pre-screened it. Like, I didn't, like, hear any spoilers, but, like, people were fucking raving about this movie. And so I'm like, okay. You know, I really enjoyed Sinister. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this film because every movie I've seen from that director so far that I can remember, they were pretty solid hits.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm like, okay, I'm all in. Like, chips on the table, we're going.
Yeah, immediately from the teaser, I was in right away.
Yeah.
And just so you know, there are going to be some spoilers in this.
Shit, yes.
So,
if you guys don't want them, turn this fucking video off.
Move
right
on.
now.
Move on.
Move along, friends, because this is not the video for you.
Yeah.
So the movie is set, was it the 70s? I'm pretty sure it was like the 70s.
70s, mid-70s. Yeah, it had that vibe. I don't think they disclosed the date, but it definitely had that vibe to it, yeah.
So you've got like these kids and they're in the 70s. The opening scene, it starts out with like kind of like a baseball game. I think that's how it started, right?
It did, yeah.
Or either that or that was just shortly after, but it starts with this baseball game. We meet our main character, Finn. He's playing baseball and he is a little bummed because he doesn't get this kid. I don't remember what his name was. He couldn't strike him out, but like the first thing that, you know, they meet and he's like, man, your arm is mint. And like gives him some serious props because, you know, dude was down in the dumps. He's like, shit, I just lost us the game. But, you know, that's our first glimpse at this character. He seems kind of like he might be somewhat of a social outcast. I just got those vibes right away.
Yeah, the movie had like a haunting presence to me, like immediately, right from the get-go. And after the baseball scene, they go right into the kids walking home.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And then you see the van pull up.
Yeah.
And then it goes to black. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Right away, yeah.
And then from there you find out that they have named this person, Ethan Hawke's character, the Grabber. And, I mean, as original of a name as that is, he's creepy. The whole fucking movie, he is just creepy as shit.
Yeah.
But you find out that he's been, like, literally even before the opening scene that he's been grabbing kids. And then his next victim happens to be the kid that talks to our main character at the baseball game. He's like his next victim. And so shit's going down. These kids are getting grabbed on the streets, so they're like setting up curfews, and kind of like everybody's leery of what's going on, and rightfully so. Like, especially in like a small town, if you got kids fucking disappearing left and right, that's huge red flag. That's not like being in the middle of like Detroit and like kids disappearing. This is like a small community and kids are just disappearing. So that's like high alert. So and we meet Finn and his family a little more in that, and as the scenes progress. His sister Gwen,
she's such a badass.
She was so badass.
She was such a badass. This little girl has no fear.
Yeah, whatsoever.
She sticks up for her friend. She sticks up for her brother a few different times. And I can't remember exactly the one-liners that she had, but...
They were quippy.
Dude, she was ready to go, and she was a little firecracker. And I thought her character was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then the kids, her and Finn's dad was...
a raging alcoholic.
Very troubled dude. And then they lost their mom due to suicide. I think a couple years before that they mentioned it.
He said that she was like seeing and hearing things, and it kind of told her to take her life, and she went with it.
Yeah, it just destroyed her. Yeah.
And so like the dad, obviously ultimately just devastated to his core. He has turned to like drinking, and he's a little bit violent and abusive to an extent. Like, I mean, some of it was like, yeah, I would have got my ass whooped with a belt too growing up, but like I felt like he was a little excessive in some scenes. But you could tell that
much.
Yeah, he was definitely, you could tell that was his escape. That was his vice. That was kind of like helping him cope with that loss. And so we see their home life is not always the greatest. I mean, the dad seems okay if nothing's going wrong. Like, he's not like he doesn't go pick fights with them until like something happens. Like, she like went and spent the night at her friends or something, and then the cops like...
The cops came to question her due to
her knowing the person that was...
So she has dreams, right? Remember, she had those dreams that kind of... She was able to see what was happening with the grabber, with Ethan Hawke's character. So... Yeah. And obviously nobody believed her, because it's like, okay, it's this little kid having these ridiculous dreams of kids disappearing, but nobody's believing her. Yeah. So the cops came to question her about the most recent disappearance. And then when the dad found out...
It just set him off, because I think it's because it's reminiscent of what the mother was going through.
Yeah.
Seeing and hearing things and like having these visions and stuff like that. So he's like, shit, it's happening again. I'm going to lose my daughter the same way I lost my wife. Which at that point, you can't blame him. I mean, he's like... Yeah. He saw what happened to his wife, and he's like seeing his daughter kind of stumbling onto that same path. So of course he's gonna react. But yeah, he flips out on her and starts beating her ass over like the fact that she knew. Well, one, I think she knew the kid, or knew something about the kid that got grabbed, and then also that she was telling the police these visions that she's having.
And obviously the police wasn't buying it, because it's a little kid.
They just
making up stories, and
they just wondered how she knew about the black balloons and stuff like that. Like key things that nobody else would know besides the police who have been on the scene and saw what happened after the murders. Like she knew like a little more than a normal person would. So they were kind of like, "What the fuck? How do you know this?
Yeah.
Like I don't believe you have visions, but." Obviously, you know something, and you need to tell us how you know.
Yeah, the one thing I really liked about this movie is I felt like it wasted no time. Like, it got to the point right away.
Yeah.
You saw Ethan Hawke's character pretty much right off the get-go. Yeah. And the disappearances started happening right away. The mysteries were trying to get solved right away. They wasted no time.
Yeah.
And the relationships between the kids, like there was some bullying going on in the movie.
Yeah.
Finn, the main character, got bullied a lot, and there was what was the kid's name that stood up for him? The badass with the bandana.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, this kid.
It was like I think it was almost like a girl name. I can't remember, but I remember it being like feminine for him.
Yeah.
But he was straight up just like cold clocking motherfuckers.
Savage.
Yeah, he was a savage fighter.
He was a savage. Yeah. And then he got up getting abducted next, right?
Yeah, he got abducted next, which was like, holy shit, this kid's a tough kid. If he can get abducted, like, any of these other kids don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Which, he was kind of Finn's saving grace at school. Like, he had these bullies that were constantly picking on him. And, like, hey, why are you in the dude's bathroom? And they were, like, starting shit with him. And then that dude walked in and was washing his knuckles with all the blood from that bigger dude's fucking mouth on his hand.
What did he say? You fuck with Finn again, I fuck with you.
Yeah.
Just savage.
Yeah, he said.
By the way, cheers, bud. I'm drinking some wine.
I'm drinking some Mountain Dew.
Cheers to everybody.
Cheers, interesting mix,
Yeah.
But he and then he I think he calls them bitches or something. He get the fuck out of my bathroom.
Yeah.
Pretty much, essentially what they were doing to Finn was like, get the fuck out of our bathroom. He was like, no, you get the fuck out of my bathroom. You don't fucking come up in my joint and fucking start running your mouth.
Fuck with him, I fuck with you. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I wish he wouldn't have been abducted. Like, I thought he would be like a cool character to keep on at least. But but it shows that nobody was safe.
Yeah, and I think he played a very vital key in Finn eventually, once again, spoiler, and Finn making it out on top towards the end of the movie, because he was kind of like the saving grace for Finn, right? Which I thought was really cool, the way they interacted. Yeah,
so now this is going to perpetuate us into some serious shit.
We're obviously not going to talk about the entire movie in detail. We're just going to break down some favorite scenes, but then it switches to
Finn gets his ass abducted.
Finn's abduction, which is the first time that you actually see Ethan Hawke's character
full on
on display.
Yeah.
And it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. It starts out with Finn's doing his shit, and he passes by the van, and Ethan Hawke, obviously you could tell it was on purpose for sure, but he spills his groceries right in front of Finn.
On purpose.
And then he tells him, he's like, do you want to see a magic trick? And then he ends up fucking chloroforming him or whatever he fucking does that puts him out. And then the last thing he sees is him pull out the black balloons and then let him go out of the van.
Yeah. And what little kid doesn't want to see a magic trick?
Right?
I mean...
Right. Shit. But he gets his ass abducted, and he ends up wakes up in this cellar. I mean, he's kind of in and out. You see him struggling to be awake, and but then when he wakes up completely, he's in this basement, and Ethan Hawke was I think in that scene he was watching him sleep, and he was just uber creepy.
Dude, he was so terrifying, man. And that mask that they found for him,
I've never seen anything like it.
I think it's the cover of the movie. It had the two little horns with the giant grin and the giant teeth.
Yeah.
And he's just staring at him, and the room was so creepy. The first thing that the room reminds me of, for those of you that watch it, and let us know if you agree with this, if you look at the beginning intro of the production, Blumhouse Productions, where they have that little girl that's standing by the wall, right, and she's looking at you like this, and then there's a red line all the way across the cement wall, which I think kind of looks like a bloodline.
Okay.
That's what I think I told you this after the movie. But that's what the cellar room reminded me of. It was dark, it was gloomy, and it had that red, what seemed like a blood-stained line that went all the way across.
Which I bet you that was, because it looks like they incorporated, which we got to talk about the new Blumhouse intro is pretty fucking cool.
Did I say Blumhouse?
Yeah.
I said, what an idiot. Blumhouse.
But it's a really cool intro. It literally starts with Michael Myers, and there's all this shit, and it goes through the different films that they do. And I thought that was a pretty cool new intro. I mean, I didn't mind the previous one, but this one really showcased the movies that they have out, their hits. But yeah, you told me that right after the movie that you recognized the wall seemed like the same wall from that intro. And I'd have to see that again, but I believe you for sure. Like I just might have missed that. I was like so hooked into the movie, like like usually I'll pick apart details and shit, but like on a first initial watch, like if it's a good movie, I'm just like
you're tuned in.
I'm focused. Yeah. So like I was just like hooked, and this movie kept me hooked from beginning to end. Like. There was no moments where I felt like you said, the pacing was great.
There's no downtime.
There's no downtime. This thing is like, it's like a train going off the tracks. Like it's not stopping for anybody. Yeah. And I like that. I liked the fact that there was no slow moments where I felt like I needed to like talk or do anything. Like I felt bored. I was like just straight, just on the ride for the whole movie.
This movie to me was like seeing a really good live band that just keeps you engaged the whole time. You know what I mean? Like there's no breaks in between songs.
Right.
If you switch from one song to another, it's go, go, go. That's kind of how I felt about this movie. And you said it the best. After it, you're like, I think you said that you could see it being like a cult classic 20 years from now.
Yes.
That have like a
100%.
Has like a very strong following to it. And 100%. I definitely got those vibes from it.
It's like the next Halloween, or like the next, it's like the next movie that's like so iconic that you're like, down the road from now, people are going to be like, shit, have you seen The Black Phone?
Yeah.
And it's going to be just one of those movies that like, if you haven't seen horror, they're going to be like, dude, fucking watch this. Yeah. Like, you'll be hooked.
20 years from now, this movie is going to be what they show in your local theaters at like midnight. Like midnight showings, and people will show up with the Ethan Hawke mask. And,
fuck, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it was so good. But, so, getting back, now that I've kind of taken us off the tracks here. So we got Finn, and he's down in the cellar. He's dealing with Ethan Hawke and all this creepy shit that he provides. I almost got pedo vibes at some point. Like, like...
For sure.
He was... pushing it, like the way he was like, you look so like or like so innocent when you sleep, and like just the way he was talking about Finn, I was just like,
I'm not gonna hurt you,
like
type thing.
Yeah, like I was like, dude's about to get fucking just backdoor plundered by this dude or something. Like it just gave me some weird. He was creepy, don't get me wrong, but there was just some pedo vibes there. But he never pushed beyond that we ever saw.
Yeah.
But just the vibes he was giving off were just like unsettling.
You believed that he was really that dude. You believed that the character was a real dude.
Yeah.
So all credit to Ethan Hawke. I mean,
for just providing an unsettling character. Just
killed it.
Yeah, he killed this film. Like
But
so over time, he starts to hear the phone ringing like on this day-to-day basis, and he like the first couple times he picks up, there's just static. There's nothing there.
And I think it's important to mention while the phone is ringing beforehand, Ethan Hawke says this phone hasn't worked in years.
Oh yes, that's true.
So the phone is completely unhooked off the wall. It makes no sense that it's ringing. So then it kind of adds like another spooky vibe to it. Like, why the fuck's this phone ringing?
Yeah. Which good point. I didn't even bring that up.
We saw it once. It was a week and a half ago.
But so the phone's not been in working order for a long time. Ethan Hawke said he even mentions that he used to hear it ring.
Yeah.
Like kind of like that. It almost gives me that vibe, like like your phone. You feel like your phone's going off. That phantom vibe. Like maybe it's just your mind playing tricks on you. Like a
phantom pulse.
For those of you who don't know, that's one of Outer Resistance tracks. Unfortunately, I didn't have the pleasure of being on that track, but we've done some.
Had to throw that in. You kind of set it up perfectly. So
we've done some pretty sick tracks since then. So definitely stay tuned because we got some shit for you. But yeah, so he's like, I used to hear it ring, and like it's nothing. Like you're just going. Pretty much making Finn like you're nuts. It's not ringing. I can assure you that thing doesn't work.
Which is exactly what a psychopath would say to somebody. Like, hey, you're losing it. Like,
Yeah, right? Like, you're the one
Yeah.
who has the issues, not me. Not me.
Yeah.
Not the dude who's, like, kidnapping kids and wearing a fucking weird-ass mask and leaving black balloons at the scene like some creeper. But, so, yeah, progressively, though, over time, more spoilers, of course. We'll spoil the shit out of this for you. So if you're still watching, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life.
If you're still watching, just...
turn it off.
Probably just stop. Or just give Josh the viewing time. Just watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And then watch the movie. Yeah.
But so progressively, the phone calls they become more frequent, and then it starts to become more than just static. Mm-hmm. He starts to hear these voices over the line, and they start telling him like certain things, like, "Hey, you know the vent up there.
Yeah.
Like, it's loose or something. Pull it. You know, like they're giving him hints on like ways of possibly escaping this place."
Yeah. And these voices are all voices, you can tell that they're kids.
Right.
Which then makes you believe, like, oh, are these previous victims?
Right.
Which they haven't disclosed yet, but you kind of head that way. And so these kids are, like, giving him all these clues on how to try to escape this cellar.
Right. Yeah. And then as it gets progressively more and more, we do find out that they are the kids that have died before, and then they had also tried to escape, and they're like, hey, this works. I got dealt a bad hand. I didn't make it out. Mm-hmm. But try these options. Like, do anything you can to get out of here, because I can assure you, if you don't, you're going to die here.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. And so he's getting these hints. So he starts doing, like, he, like, pulls down the vent. You know, he's trying to get out, like, he finds out that there's, like, a hole in the ground, or, like, he starts digging in the ground too, and like he tries all these routes of like getting out.
He tries screaming, but the cellar is completely soundproof.
Right, and then he I think he even like he busts down that wall with like a shovel, like something. Like he takes like some.
He took the back of the toilet.
Oh, that was what it was. It was the lid.
The lid of the toilet, and he starts bashing the wall in.
Which, dude, back then, like, were the fucking toilets made of like, because that ceramic shit on toilets now would not hold up to that.
Snapped within 2 or 3 hits, yeah.
Yeah, it would have just shattered. And so I was like, shit, I wonder how they made the toilets back then, because they're definitely tougher than now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he busts down the wall. He ends up in the freezer. Like, like, why did the freezer, like, unless that dude before, you know, busted out the back of the freezer, like, why does the freezer have no back to it? Like, why can you get into the freezer?
Right.
With, I don't know.
And then the freezer was locked.
Yeah.
So you had to come back in. But dude, can we talk about the scene when Ethan, once again, if you're still here, what are you doing? When Ethan Hawke, so he leaves the cellar door unlocked on purpose because he wants Finn to try to escape, right?
Yeah.
And then Finn comes up and he takes a peek, and Ethan Hawke is just sitting in the kitchen in a chair, shirtless, with his mask on.
And like a whip or something? It was some kind of
whip or a belt or something like that. Yeah. And then one of the phone calls that he got previously to this, the kid warned him, don't go upstairs, don't try to escape.
It's a test.
It's a test. He's going to beat you to a pulp.
And then you're fucked.
Don't try to escape. This is not the time. So then Finn sees him, but just that scene of him just sitting there.
Just fucking looming.
Yeah.
Like, he's ready. Like, he's like, he knows because, like, the other kids have done it.
Yeah.
So he's like...
That gave me full body chills. It was so terrifying, and he is... Dude, I'm telling you, Ethan Hawke in this movie fucking crushes.
Yeah, it was cool seeing him in like a different kind of way too. Because Sinister, he was like he wasn't the antagonist. He was more of like the guy trying to be the hero, trying to figure things out. Like
he was a family man. He was a writer.
He was a good
dad.
guy. Yeah,
he was a good dude.
I mean, he made some poor decisions, but
yeah,
but not the way he played in this movie. He was
not
like
in this one.
Just fucking straight brutal and dark and just evil.
Yeah,
just evil.
Another thing I liked about this movie is I couldn't really figure it out. Like, a lot of times, your average horror movie, whether it's a slasher, especially slashers, are kind of somewhat easy to figure out. This movie, I didn't really see which direction was it going to go in. Is Finn going to make it? Is Finn going to die? Like, there were so many clues that it could have gone either way. So another positive is, like, it kept you on the edge of your seat, but I also couldn't figure it out.
Right, because, like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but there are movies where nobody makes it. Mm-hmm. There was a movie on Netflix. It was really fucking good. It was called Open House. And at the end of this movie, the main character doesn't even fucking survive. He gets killed too at the end, and it's like nobody fucking survives. So it's possible you can. There doesn't have to be survivors in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like the ones that you're like rooting for, like obviously Friday the 13th, somebody makes it, to the end, or like those kind of movies you always see someone making it to the end. Not always making it past that, because like obviously Friday 13th Part 1, the girl from that one dies in the very beginning of Part 2. Like they don't live forever.
Yeah, that's right.
But like usually you get like a person making it to the end, but there are the select movies that nobody makes it. So you didn't know.
You don't know in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Like it could have just ended with him fucking like doing his best and trying to be valiant, and like him not making it. And then, like, them finding him along with the other bodies, and then he just becomes another statistic.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad, spoiler alert, that it did not end that way.
Why would you spoil the movie? Go see this movie. I'm telling you, go watch this movie. It's so damn good.
It is.
And can we talk about the fact that the brother of Ethan Hawke was trying to figure out the case?
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
So it's a small town. Everybody knows what's going on. And there's this dude that the police investigates, who at this point we don't know that it's Ethan Hawke's brother, but he's like, he's balls deep into this case. He's like trying to figure it out.
He's got a board with like
with like
the strings
and stuff, and like trying to figure out where he's gonna strike next. And so he's like super committed to trying to figure out and solve this murder, and it turns out it's
his own fucking brother.
It's his own brother. So he one good guy and one bad guy, and it's like, I didn't see that coming.
And I guess I can spoil that. That is the character who's also from Sinister.
Yeah.
He was the one who played the police officer that was helping Ethan Hawke in Sinister.
That's right.
But he ends up playing Ethan Hawke's brother in this film.
Yeah.
And he's a total like druggie too at the same time. He was snorting coke after the police left, and was like, "Oh shit, I had the coke out."
The police cops were like, "Why don't you clean this up?" As they're leaving, and then he looks down. He's like, "Oh shit, I have cocaine all over the table."
Fucking so he just lines it up and
does what he has to do. Yeah.
Right. Clean the mess. Yeah. But so he's like, he even has on the map. He has it close to their area, like. The perimeter is like pretty much right near where they are.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was in the ballpark. Like I just can't believe he never fucking knew. I mean, he's probably drugged out of his mind most of the time, and just things lined up perfectly. And the room was soundproof, so I mean, if he never had to go to the cellar for anything, especially because there was nothing down there, then obviously, I mean, he'd never know. Yeah.
That is if I have to be ultra picky, that is the one thing that I didn't like. He's like, Ethan Hawke's been doing this for how long? Like,
and the brother just never knows.
Like, you never know. You never
heard a kid scream or come upstairs and scream.
Yeah, and you're telling me that Ethan Hawke never made a mistake?
Yeah.
Where he might have left the door open, or he might have left it cracked, and you hear screams. So that if I have to be super picky, I didn't like how it's like, dude, your brother's killing kids in your basement and you don't know. That's kind of silly, but it is pretty cool how they made them brothers and they were completely opposite of each other.
Right. And I mean, not to defend it completely, but I think he mentioned in the movie though that he had only been staying there for a short time.
Well, I'll just go fuck myself then.
Well, I wanted you to get your spill out, but like I think I could be wrong, but I think he had mentioned that he had been bouncing between places, and then he was at his brother's. So he might not have been there for all the murders, but like, I mean, still though. I mean, in your defense, there had to be some point where he was there, where something happened, especially because all these kids, the last couple of kids, were consecutive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had to be there at least some point, at least during even the Hispanic friend of his, the one that was the badass. I mean, he could have been there for that. Like, you telling me that kid didn't put up a fight and fucking make some noise? Like,
yeah.
I mean, so I can see on both ends. So I'm on the fence. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd have to watch it again and really grasp that. But so he's getting like, and then we start to see these fucking kids. Like, not only do we hear them, but then they start popping up as apparitions.
Yeah. So when Finn answers the phone, when he's getting these phone calls, while the kids are talking, the camera will zoom over, and then the kids are standing next to Finn. Finn can't see them.
Yeah.
But they're standing next to him, and they're obviously all beat up and bruised up.
You can see kind of how they died.
Yeah. But what's really cool is while they're standing next to him and you see them talking, their voice is coming through the phone.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Very original, very unique, and it was pretty spooky too.
If there's anything for this film too, it's originality. Like
100%.
I can, like, who knows if there's a movie out there like it, but like I just haven't like remembered a movie being quite like this film.
I haven't seen anything that I can compare it to. It was very unique, very original, which is another reason why I agree with you that it could be like a cult classic.
Yeah, because a lot of other stuff is like regurgitated ideas.
Yeah.
And this was not. This was like, it felt fresh. It felt like something like I didn't know how anything was going to play out. Like, it didn't have like the cliche like horror tropes to it. Like,
not at all.
Like most films. And
not at all. None of it was predictable. For me.
I didn't feel like any predictability either with that film. But so Finn is also, as you've watched the movie, you've learned that Finn is not very confrontational. I mean, he's always been kind of like, he needs other people to defend him. I don't think he's ever really stood up for himself.
He's timid. You can tell that the trauma and the abuse that he's gotten from his dad.
And then beaten up at school.
At school, bullied all the time. You can tell that it's completely affected who he is, and
made him.
He doesn't know how to stand up for himself because all he's used to is getting beat up on. So,
And his dad, I mean, his dad dealing with the shit he's dealing with obviously has not taught him really to man up, or at least not that we know of. That his dad's not like, well, usually they get pep talks and like, boy, you just need to like stand up, put your fists up, and at least give it a try. Don't just take it. Like, because Finn, he's good at taking a punch though. Like, I'll give him that. Yeah. When he was getting beat up, he at least took it and was not a wussy about it.
Yeah.
That part I can give him props for. But like,
do you know who throws a better punch than Finn? His sister.
His sister is a savage.
Gwen is a badass.
Like that scene when, like, earlier in the movie, like the bullies are picking on him, and she just comes in there and just starts
in with a rock.
Oh yeah,
hits that kid on the head, starts bleeding from the side, and this girl's like, what, 3-4 years younger than the bullies, younger than Finn, and she's just like, don't fuck with my brother.
Yeah, and like you said, she had some one-liners for them, and like she just was like, and then she was like punching him, and like she ended up, ultimately getting her ass kicked too. But like, the fact is that she had the balls to just go in there like blindly and just start going at it. Like, she didn't even care about her safety or well-being. She was just like, I'm gonna protect my brother because obviously he sucks at protecting himself, and so I give her like total props for being like a
flat out sister mode.
Yeah, for real. And so, speaking of the sister, during this whole time that Finn is being locked up too, it's funny watching her. She like opens her little dollhouse. And there's like a Bible.
I forgot.
And like the little cross and like the little Virgin Mary or something. There's like little things. And she's like, Jesus, if you're real, like
I don't know if you are, but if you are,
like, why are you being like a dick? Like, or like, she was just like talking to him just like a normal person. Like, she wasn't even talking to him like if he was like a religious figure. She was like, what the hell?
She opened it one time. This is about halfway through the movie, and she's tried talking to Jesus a few times. She's getting nowhere, and then one time it cuts to the scene. She opens it up and she goes, "What the fuck, Jesus?"
Like, that made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, she just like came in with that. But like,
Yeah.
she like prayed that she'd like get like some visions or something. She's like, you give it to me when I don't really want it, but right now I really want to find Finn. Like,
Yeah.
I need it now more than ever. Like, all the other times, she didn't want anything to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, I don't really want these visions, but like they're happening. But then she's like, okay, since I have this ability, I really need to utilize it because my brother's in danger, and like her brother is her world.
It's her best friend for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100%. And so she's this whole time she's trying to figure out. So she ends up getting visions down the line. That, well, I guess I won't go into this yet because we still got to get through like what happens with Finn.
Yeah.
I as much as I want to jump into that, like, so Finn, essentially, like, at one point he does get out. You remember when he goes upstairs and he, like, gets the door open with the combo lock?
Yeah, and he got the combo from one of the previous phone calls from a previous victim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and...
Now, mind you, while he goes up, Ethan Hawke fell asleep because he's sitting in his chair.
And it was, like, super late, I think.
Super late.
I think, like, he gave up, like, he was waiting, and Finn didn't come up for, like, ever, so... He obviously, like, he needs to sleep at some point. I don't think he's, like, cracked out on, like, coffee or something, but, like...
Falls asleep.
He falls asleep, so Finn comes up, and he's able to get that combo and that door open, but as he does, the brother's dog starts barking like a fucking mad dog.
Breaks loose, yeah. And the movie just goes from 0 to 100 within a split second.
Yeah, because he, like,
Finn starts running out. The van turns on. You see the van come around the corner. It's dark. It's like, you know, 1 a.m. or whatever.
And he, like, starts to scream, like, because Ethan Hawke catches up to him and he, like, tackles him out and he's like, the grabber, blah, 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 blah. And, like, then Ethan Hawke puts a knife to his throat and he's like...
I forget do you remember what the line was? But it was...
Like, you say anything.
Eerie.
It was either, like, you scream again or you say something like...
I gut you like a fucking pig.
Yes.
I think that's what he said.
Yep. He said something about gutting him like a fucking pig. And I was just like, oh, shit. Like, yeah. He's serious. Like, you know he would. Like, that's not, like, an empty threat at all. Yeah. But, so then he ends up pulling, you know, him back to the house. Well, he hits him over the face, knocks him out again. And pretty much puts him back in the room, knocked out cold.
And then the next scene starts out and Finn wakes up back in the cellar.
Probably feeling like shit for getting his fucking face knocked in.
Yeah, here we go again, back to square one type thing.
And then the voices actually over the phone tell him, like, oh shit, you just signed your fucking death warrant. Like,
that was your one chance.
That was your one chance. Yeah. Now he's gonna kill you now. Like, so you need to fucking fight. If anything, you gotta stand your ground for once in your damn life, and you've gotta fight because otherwise you are not gonna get out of here alive. And so he starts taking this advice from these different voices, and then, like, the one that really was, like, the most powerful was his friend. Was, like, pretty much said, hey, unscrew this phone, pack it with fucking dirt.
That's right. Use the dirt that you used up from digging the hole.
And fill it so so it has more weight to the phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like, step back, forward, back. Like, he, like, shows him some,
he
like...
pretty much teaches him how to box. How to use the phone as a weapon.
And the momentum. To, like, fucking...
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, this is it. It's now or never. You got to be prepared when he comes down, because when he comes down...
It's game over.
It's game over. So
you have your one shot.
If you're going to go down swinging. Which, like, in that situation, that's all he has. And that's... I mean, like, shit, if I was in that situation, too, if I'm going to die, at least I'm going to die trying. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to fucking lay there and take it. Like, if I know there's a possibility that I could get out, even no matter how slim that chance is, I'm going to fucking take it.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to, like, sit there and be like, okay, let's get this over with. Just kill me.
Yeah, me... I think I like to think that I know how I would react in a situation like that.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's impossible to know, for me, how I would react.
Well, how was your fight or flight response? How do you feel like when, like, things come out at you, or like for me, like, okay, I know it's not, like, crazy, but we went to, like, Hollywood Universal Studios. We went to the Halloween nights, and there's, like, people jumping out at you and doing shit. and every single time my fist went up and I was ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like instead of like freaking out, like that was my instant reaction. My wife was like, "Don't fucking punch any of these people." Yeah. So like I know my fight or flight response is generally fight for me.
Yeah, my fists definitely go up when the clowns jump out at me at Scarywood.
You're like, okay, we're gonna box.
I'm ready to go.
I feel like that's like an indication at least that you're not, you don't have that fright. You're more of the fight. So I feel like, I mean, I know the situation. Who knows in that situation? But at least you know, for a lot of incidents that you instantly go into like an attack position versus like a cowering or like going like this, like getting scared.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I mean, hopefully.
I feel like you're a brutal dude.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I guess I can be if I want to be, but in a situation like that, it's impossible to imagine what it would be like, and you know, hope to God that you never have to find out. But
right.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, as a kid though, I was a scaredy cat though, like straight up.
Dude, I'm scared of so many things, man. Like, yeah, I see a spider around the house, I get my wife and I usually have her kill it. Like, spiders, I'm out. I think of, like, bears and cougars. Those are my two.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I'm out, dude. Like, I can't see a situation where I would come out on top of that, you know.
Yeah.
But it depends.
So, I guess so we can, like, I don't want us to, like, drag this out for you guys too long. I mean, I want us to be able to get to the points like we have been. I mean, we've been doing pretty good at not giving you an NFL play-by-play of everything. We're just having a great time. And it's fun to discuss horror movies, especially because before doing this channel, I felt like I didn't really have an outlet for that. Like, I love horror movies, but it was just me and myself and I. Mm-hmm. You know, like my wife loves horror, but not to that level that I'm on. Yeah. Me, I like live fucking Halloween and horror all the fucking time. I don't know why. It's just something that's stuck with me.
It's definitely my favorite genre too.
For sure.
There's nothing like the feeling of being scared.
That's just that adrenaline.
The adrenaline but you know you're safe. You know it's controlled. You know that nothing's gonna happen to you, and then you can just. I try to put myself in situations of the movie. That's kind of how I envision myself. And I think that's what brings out that adrenaline. Yeah. And that's what brings out that curiosity. And you ask yourself, well, shit, what would I do in that situation?
Right. And especially the horror movies that are realistic.
Yeah.
Not like there's like the supernatural still can get you, but like the movies where like the killers are plausible. Like Scream and those kind of movies where like, yes, somebody can fucking hunt you down and gut you like a fish in real life. God knows, like I think about all the time, how many people you pass on the street or your neighbors that God knows they have a soundproof fucking basement or some shit.
Yeah.
And they've got people down there fucking either chained up and they're doing shit to them or they're dead. Mm-hmm. You never know. Like these people could look normal as fuck, but they're not.
That being said, I would much rather deal with Ghostface than deal with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah, he was...
Me personally. Like I said, Ethan Hawke scared the living shit out of me in this movie.
Yeah, he was definitely...
super believable.
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
Where were we in the movie?
But, so he's at the end, this is it. Mm-hmm. Last stop. You got to go for it. And so Ethan Hawke comes down, and sure enough, you know, they have this brawl out, and he's like, you think fucking Finn might be done for.
He's in do or die mode. He knows this is the last shot, last chance.
It's great because he gets some great... Oh, shit. Before we go into that, right before Ethan Hawke comes down, the brother comes down.
Because that's right. The brother just figures out
that it was
that Ethan Hawke, he sees
the basement door open.
Comes down, sees this kid.
He's like,
Finn saying, "Help me."
And then
the door cracks open even more, and guess who's standing there? Ethan Hawke with a fucking axe.
Right? And that kill was so fucking brutal. His own goddamn brother, he like fucking hacks into his head with a fucking axe, and it goes deep in his head. Like that wasn't just like a graze on the top. Yeah. That was like, dude took it to the dome.
And
like
you see all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal.
I agree.
But and he's like, and then that's what kicks off everything too. Is Ethan Hawke's like, look what you made me do. My brother is an idiot. Like, so then Ethan Hawke and him go at it. There's a point where like the hole he had dug, like Finn hops over and runs over there, and like Ethan Hawke falls in and like busts his ankles or something, gets stuck, and he's just like beating the fuck out of Ethan Hawke
with
like,
the phone filled with dirt. Yeah.
Yep, and then oh shit, that finisher move.
Yeah, that was like it was almost like a reverse, for all you WWE fans, it was like a reverse neck cracker. Like a reverse Stone Cold Stunner. That's the best way to describe it.
And didn't he wrap some of the cord around his neck too with it? Like
wrap
when
the cord and then just dropped full force.
Backwards, and he just fucking snaps his neck. And that was just so beautiful. I was just like, in the movie, I was just like, damn right! Fuck yeah! Like, you know, we were all excited to see Finn just kick his ass and fucking kill him, like, you know, because we wanted to see him get home to his sister and to his, you know, family and not have that looming over them. Over, you know, they already lost their mother. They don't need to lose Finn too.
Yeah, and then, so the way the police finds Finn is the sister, Gwen, who had another dream. She had another vision.
But we end up finding out she had the vision of the house where he was dumping the bodies,
which was directly across.
Which is fucking insane. Like, the house was not being. He rented it out, but it was empty. They're like, the house is empty, but then they came down to the cellar, and sure enough, there was like these open grave. There was an open grave, and there was all these buried bodies, and it was like just right across the street. But then Finn comes out the front door, and then his sister sees him. They're like, "Oh shit, that's him!" Like, so they like run over and check that house, and that's where they find like the carnage of like the dead brother and Ethan Hawke's character fucking just. And we get our happy ending. Thank God. I was like, fuck. Yeah. I was like, you know, I felt for them. Like, I felt for them. They were like they were characters that I was more invested in than some horror movies. Like, there are definitely movies where, like, the characters are throwaway. You don't give a fuck. Because, well, one, they don't have enough, they don't establish them enough or give you enough reason to care about them. And that's because a lot of people just want to go to the movie for, like, a gore fest or like just like straight horror the whole way through, but like this, they wanted to make you feel something too, and you could feel for these characters because, you know, their loss of their mother, the dad's abusive and like drinking all the time, and like this kid never stands up for himself, and his sister really cares about him and is willing to do anything for her brother. Like, it makes for characters you can connect with. So
yeah, the movie felt real, and like you said, the characters were so relatable. Like, so many people go through being bullied, you know, so many people have these, you know, past trials and tribulations with their parents, or they have abusive parents, and then you see that carry over in their everyday life, and it's so relatable to
100%. Like,
to real life.
Yeah, I felt very connected to these kids, and I even felt, I mean, I didn't feel as much for the kids that were gone before, but like you could feel like, you know, especially because like that first kid in the baseball, he seemed like a nice kid. Yeah. Like these kids, some of these kids felt like they were really nice, and like they were like, and like the friend that got killed, like he was there to stand up for his friend. Like, so you had some level of like feeling for a lot of the kids that had been kidnapped, but mostly for Finn and for his family out of all of them. Yeah. But overall, like we've said like a bunch of times throughout this video, such an excellent movie. You got to see it. Like, I definitely recommend it in the theaters too. Like 100%. Most movies, I'll be like, you could wait till it comes to Redbox or Netflix or a streaming service. But like, this one is like 100%. Like, it felt awesome in the theaters.
Yeah. I think what I enjoyed the most, I mean, there's a lot of scenes, a lot of events that happened that I loved, but what I loved seeing the most was seeing Finn's character from the beginning, and then seeing the transition of him going from this timid, scared kid who is bullied all the time, but then he kind of finds a way to survive, and then at the end he becomes this total badass in a way where he stands up for himself and then he makes it. And then you see at the end of the movie, he's finally able to talk to this girl that he's had a crush on. Where in the beginning, he couldn't make out a word because he was so scared. You know?
And the bullies didn't fuck with him anymore. Everybody's like, he's the one who killed the grabber. Like, everybody knew it. Yeah. Like, Finn's not one to fuck with because he killed this grown ass murderer. Like, you know, like, okay, Finn had earned some street cred at that point. And it was good to see him finally be able to feel comfortable in his own skin. Yeah. And really blossom, I guess, in a sense. So, no, 100%. This was a great movie, guys. We highly recommend it. I'm going to be buying it when it comes out for sure. It's definitely 100%. One of my collection. Yeah. So if you were to rank this movie, usually I do this in all my videos. If you were to rank this film out of a 10, what would you give it?
I don't know that I've ever seen the perfect movie, so obviously I think it's a cliche thing to say a 10, but honestly, I give it a solid 9.2. Okay. I'll go with 9.2. Yeah. Okay.
I was definitely, I mean, you did make some solid points. I was going to give it pretty close to a 10. I might even go a little higher. Ooh. I know, I'm being a little adventurous here.
All right.
I give this a 9.7. I don't, like, usually, like, the only points I do are 0.5, but this is, like, as close to 100% solid movie as I think I've seen in a while.
It's really fucking good.
I mean, y'all on the internet can fight me all you want day and night till the cows come home, but, like...
Bring it.
Bring it. Like, this was a fantastic film.
Let's see the comments.
Let's see the comments. Down haters. Below. Yeah. All the haters, all the love. Yeah. If you've seen the movie, let us know what you think. Definitely drop a comment below. Hit me up on Instagram, n.o.w.l.91. I'd love to chit-chat with you more about the film or anything else. You know, I'm always down to talk. But yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys think as well. Thank you so much for being on today, Igor.
Dude, thanks for having me on, man. This was a blast. I've never done this before. This was my first movie review. This was my first guest appearance on anything really. Yeah. So this was fun. Yeah, let's 100%. Do it again, man. Thanks for coming over to my crib and
you want to give them a quick little peek here behind us?
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but I kind of like Metallica a little bit. So.
Yeah, you've got like a signed drum head back here.
By all four members, that's the stick that I got from Lars in Seattle.
And then over here, we got a drawing of Metallica.
Ryan, who is also in our band, he's the guitar player. He drew that for me. That was one of my wedding gifts from him. Yeah, so I just got a bunch of Metallica memorabilia. I got some blackened whiskey signed by Lars, which is pretty cool. I'm just a diehard fan, and this is where I practice. This is kind of like
I was gonna say, if y'all didn't recognize that I was in an unfamiliar space, you know. Our friend Igor here was gracious enough to let me come over to his crib. So
what if I was just a keyboard player and I just didn't play drums at all? You know, what if this was all just fake? It was just all a big setup to.
Right. These are all fucking paper and aluminum.
I don't play drums at all. I actually just
and you know, Outer Resistance doesn't exist. It's not a real band.
It's fake.
Yeah, it's all fake.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, it's sort of new. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep killing it out there, my friends, and just remember, don't get caught.